All right. Who are you and where are you from?
My name is Carlos Griego. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, born and raised.
And
this is my son here, Zathan Cruz Griego, and he's about 16 months. We took him out for duck feeding and hot dog day.
And you have a COVID story, you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much of a story. I have two older daughters, one that's 22 and one that's 20. They both got COVID about 2 or 3 months apart. I think June and August or June and September, something like that. They were only aware that they had COVID by, losing their sense of taste and smell. They had no other symptoms or signs. They actually live with my ex-wife and her father in a pretty close-knit house. And ironically, my ex-wife or my ex-father-in-law didn't get COVID. But they quarantined themselves in the room for 14 days. No symptoms other than loss of taste and smell. One of my daughters till this day still has some skewed smell, but my other daughter's completely fine. Smells 100%, and she's you would never even know she had it.
And where any other family that had it or any friends that had it?
I mean, I've known a ton of people that have had it. Ironically, we've been blessed in our family. We've been super vigilant about how we take care of ourselves, and in the immediate household, there's 5 of us, and we've all pretty much remained safe and COVID free. But yeah, I've had a lot of friends that have COVID. I've had friends. My wife has had an uncle that got really, really sick and was in the ICU with COVID. Her aunt, who is an emphysema patient, had COVID and surprisingly did very well. My mother-in-law is a double lung transplant patient, so that's the reason for our hypervigilance is, we got to keep her protected and keep her safe. But yeah, COVID has definitely ran amok around people that we know and that we're.
Does she live with you?
She does not. She does watch our son for us, and she frequents our house. She comes over to our house probably 5 times a week. We live down the road from each other, but she's our biggest reason because she takes care of him, so we definitely don't want to expose her to anything.
Wow. And have you been social distancing from family and friends, say at Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Yeah. So again, with our hypervigilance is we kind of had to stick to our guns. Ironically, we're not very social people in the first place. We kind of just do our little thing with our family, and it's kind of been like that even pre-COVID. But yeah, I mean, it's just us, for the birthday parties, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. It's just been us. So we were actually invited to Easter barbecue, where everybody in that party was vaccinated. We have not been vaccinated. We ultimately made the decision to not go, just kind of as a caution. But yeah, so we've been super vigilant with it. We carry hand sanitizer with us. We wear our masks, obviously, when we're around others. Just doing, what they recommend, what the CDC recommends. And like I said, we don't go to bars. We haven't eaten out in a restaurant throughout this whole time. We do get takeout, more often than not if we're not eating at home. But yeah, we try to stay as safe as we possibly can.
Has that led to any anxiety on your part? You're not able to see your friends or family as much as you'd like. What has this done to your happiness level?
So yeah, I'm already naturally an anxious person. I suffer from anxiety. I was shot in February of 2003, so I've been super anxious. I have kind of PTSD from that, and this has heightened it, because 2 of the main components that humans constantly worry about, COVID or not COVID, is finances and health. Because without either one, you're kind of dead in the water. And I think COVID definitely, impacted both financial and, people's worry about their health, people's worry about how they're going to pay their bills. So I think that even if you weren't a naturally anxious person prior to COVID, I think that you probably have developed some type of anxiety. For me, myself, I find that my anxiety is I'm pretty much functioning at a high anxiety level daily. And that's with everything, you know, just, you know, intrusive thoughts, stuff like that, you know, impending doom type stuff because of COVID. COVID's around you. It's kind of like, you know, death is all around you, just kind of waiting for you to be touched by it. And you know, it does impact your mental psyche to a different level that I don't think humans, you know, before COVID have really dealt with. You know, maybe soldiers that have, you know, served in Iraq or overseas have dealt with similar things, but I think now civilians are being directly impacted, and their anxiety levels have gone through the roof because of this. You know, there's some people that have lost their jobs, they've lost their homes. There's some people that have lost family members that were close to them. They were, you know, there's people that were healthy that died. So, you know, I think the uncertainty of the disease is really what gives everybody some type of anxiety.
And has anything good come out of this year? I mean, spending more time at home with the family.
I mean, I think
you got a young one.
So rest in peace, DMX. He just passed away, but DMX said it best. He said that we had to look at this like a blessing in a lot of ways, because this essentially slowed us down, right? We're all used to living, you know, super high stress, high functioning lives where we're, you know, constantly going. We're not paying attention to family. We're not paying attention to each other. And right now, this is a blessing in disguise. You know, we were blessed to slow down. We were put in a position where, despite everybody's wants, we were put in a position to slow down, kind of enjoy your family. You know, a lot of people look down at the fact that we had to be in, you know, quarantine with our family. But in all reality, if you look back to when you're working, where do you want to be when you're working? When you were in the office pre-COVID, or you were out in the field pre-COVID, you wanted to be home, right? And now you're home, you have this opportunity to sit there and enjoy your family, I mean, I've been by his side his whole life, pretty much. You know, I still work, but I'm able to work from home for the most part.
What do you do?
I'm an environmental compliance agent. I work for I'm in the fuel industry. So we do everything from environmental compliance to gas station builds, everything fuel related. We install tanks, we do dispensers, we do all that stuff.
Wow. And lastly, how do you think the government has been handling this, and what do you think the future is? I don't mean to ask while you've just taken a bite of a hot dog, but what do you think is masking in our future? Is social distancing in our future, and have we been handling this generally well or no?
I think the government has a difficult position to be in, because as Americans, I think that we are born super entitled, right? So we feel entitled, and as Americans, we feel like you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what I want because we're, you know, home of the brave, land of the free type thing, and we're gonna do what we want to do. So I think the government has a tall order to, you know, because aside from declaring martial law, they're not gonna make people stay home, and people don't feel like they have to stay home. And you're not gonna tell me to stay home. You're not gonna tell me to wear a mask. And I think that sense of entitlement that we have as Americans is our downfall, and is why we are the #1 leading, you know, COVID death cases, everything, you know, out of these third world countries that have, you know, little to no hygiene, you know, implorable. I mean, they pretty much have crappy ways of living. You know, there's literally sewer running in the streets. You know, we are doing worse than these people. And I remember early on, I was actually listening to Rush Limbaugh, February 2020, something like that. And there was a lady that called in and she said, you know, if COVID comes here, then we're ready for it. There's no other place in the world that I'd rather be than America, because the wealthy of the world come to America to get their health care because we're the best. You know, fast forward a year and a few months, and we're actually the worst, in the worst shape. So it's ironic that, you know, that us Americans have you know, let our sense of entitlement and our pride get in the way of common sense and and you know, just conservation of life, and you know, taking heed to what, you know, the scientists and medical officials have told us to help this. You know, I mean, when China shut it down, those people, you come out, you get shot, you know, if that was the case. So, you know, they relatively, you know, they suffered, but they got it under control relatively quickly. We're still having, you know, talking about 3 or 4 or 5th waves. Like, you know, we just can't get it under control. We just came from feeding the ducks. Like I said, there was probably 200 people there with no masks. You know, so you know, the sense of entitlement, I think, is our biggest downfall as Americans.
And going forward, what's happening?
I think, back to your original question about anxiety, I think people who have developed anxiety over this COVID time, or people that are dealing with higher levels of anxiety, I think are going to deal with that permanently for the rest of their lives. Almost like a PTSD type situation, where they're going to be hyper vigilant. The people that are taking it serious and the people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing are going to be taking it serious. And I think that they are going to be, I know for myself, speaking of myself, I'm going to be less open to going to a concert, right? Just because even if we get COVID in check, you know, who's to say there's not another pandemic around the corner, right? So we've all, pretty much most people that have been here, other than, you know, the people that are in their hundreds, have never dealt with a massive pandemic. Yeah, we had the swine flu, but that got, you know, knocked out relatively quickly. So I think that that's gonna affect us for the rest of our lives, moving forward. I mean, we may have hand sanitizer, you know, in our 80s, you know what I mean, still, that we're using daily, you know. I don't know, I think that I'm definitely very aware of how quickly life can change and put off kilter with a pandemic like this. You know, it's brought a lot to my attention, as far as, you know, we're not invincible. It doesn't matter about all the money and the toys and all the stuff that you can get. It literally comes down to taking care of you, your family, and appreciating life and appreciating what we have. Because, you know, if we haven't taken anything else away from this COVID situation, it's that life is precious. And, you know, the people that were doing fine a year and a half ago, there's 500,000 of them dead right now, if not more. So, you know, it's just not, I guess, learning. It is a blessing in a sense, because you learn to take life in stride and to slow down and just kind of enjoy it. So I think, yeah, that people will still be dealing with the anxieties of this pandemic for at least, you know, decades from now on.
Wow. Thank you very much for your opinions on the 11th of April 2021 here in a park by 9th Street?
Yeah, I think we're
8th Street.
Well, we're on 8th and Central.
All right, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.